Hello dear students, how are you? We are here with the last part of passive voice. This is only a practicing section, let's say. I gave you a homework yesterday. It is a practicing worksheet where I asked you to work on some sentences, changing them from active into passive and vice versa. Now, actually, in this video, I have picked some of these sentences. I wanted to show you how we should think of each sentence, following certain steps, so that by the end we are able to give a passive sentence or even an active sentence, depending on the sentence we have, on the form we have, and on certain conditions that we should check before we go on. Now this is the worksheet I gave you yesterday, just to remind you. These are some of the sentences. In the video, I am picking only some of them, showing you, let's say, the as they say, showing you the path. Okay, fine. Now let's begin with the first sentence. People eat a lot of fast food these days. We should first ask ourselves this question: is this a sentence of an active sentence or a passive sentence? In order to know this, or to answer this question, let's have a look at each word, the function of each word, beginning with the word people. Now, people, this word's position in this sentence indicates that this is a subject and a doer. Now, how can we tell that it is a doer as well? It is through how, giving a look at the verb eat. It is an action verb. Therefore, there is a doer. Okay. A lot of fast food. What is this? This is a direct object. What do people eat? They eat a lot of fast food. So this is the direct object. Therefore, we can say that this is an active sentence. Can we change it into passive? Actually, yes, we can change it into passive, but before we go to changing it, we should think of the tense of the sentence in order to decide the form of the passive sentence. Depending on the action verb eat, we can tell that it is a simple present tense. Okay, let's see how the sentence or the passive sentence becomes. We said that in changing sentences from active into passive, we omit the doer. We don't care for the doer anymore. We care more for the object and the action. So the focus is on the direct object. A lot of fast food. This is going to be the new subject of the new sentence. The sentence becomes: a lot of fast food is eaten by people these days. Now, is eaten, we decided that this is the form of the passive because of the tense we have. It is simple present. So we included the verb to be is, depending on the new subject food. It doesn't take are or am, it should be is. And the main verb is in form 3. It is eaten, not eat anymore. Let's have a look at the second or the next sentence. The new sentence says, Jill has been scolded by the teacher. Okay, now first we need to decide if it is active or passive. We should first go for the functions of the words. Jill here is a subject, but can we say that it is a doer as well? We'll have a look at the verb we have. Has been scolded. It is this, or this is the verb phrase. Is it Jill that scolded, or actually somebody else scolded Jill? Yes, it is the teacher who scolded Jill. It's not Jill himself. Therefore, is the subject, is not the doer. So has been scolded is the verb phrase, and The teacher is the doer. Therefore, this is a passive sentence, not an active sentence. Okay, then can we change it back into active sentence? Of course we can. But before we do this, let's have a look or decide what the tense is. Jill has. Now, this helping verb has tells us that it is one of the perfect types. It is a perfect tense. Now, is it past or present? Has means that it is present perfect, but it is simple or continuous. There's no ing, there's no being, there's no ing with the verb, therefore it is a present perfect simple. Then we need to change it back into active. Therefore, we should look for the doer. As we said, the teacher is the doer. Therefore, the original object is Jill. Okay, then how the sentence goes? It becomes the teacher. We begin with the teacher. It is the doer. Has scolded. As we said, it is a present perfect simple. So we go back for the original form of a present perfect simple. Have or has, and the verb in form 3. So has scolded. Why has not have? Because it is the teacher, singular. The teacher has scolded whom? It is Jill. So we got the object from the passive sentence being the subject of that sentence. That is Jill. It becomes the object in the active sentence. Now let's move to the next sentence and let's see how also things go. The sentence says, many revolutionists. You know what the word revolutionist means? It is the one who go for, or let's say, who protests against something, or rebels against something. Someone rejecting a certain policy in the country. Many revolutionists are seeking freedom all over the world. Now, let's decide or uh, analyze the sentence or see the function of each word. Many revolutionists is subject and doer. Why is it doer? Because if I ask the question, who is seeking? It is many revolutionists. Therefore, are seeking is the verb phrase, and they are seeking what? They are seeking freedom. Therefore, freedom is a direct object. And this is only a complement all over the world. Okay, then, is this an active or a passive sentence? Sure, it is an active sentence. There is the doer, it is there in its position, and it is in its original position. All right, then can we change it into passive? Yes, we can change it into passive because I have a direct object and I have an action verb. But what tense is it? It is a present continuous tense. How can we tell? Look at the verb phrase. We have the verb to be and then the main verb with ing, so it is a present continuous tense. Why present, not past? Because it is are, not were. Now, how can we change it into passive? The point is to remove the doer and focus more on the object, that is freedom. So we begin with the word freedom, and the sentence goes this way. Freedom is being sought by many revolutionists all over the world. Freedom is the new subject. This is our main focus now. Is being sought. We have this form in giving us the passive form. Is because it is present and freedom is singular. Now, why being? Because it is continuous, if you remember. And the main verb should be in form 3, and that is sought. Perfect. Now let's move to the next sentence. And the sentence says, the concert had been organized by Kid Aid. Remember, I'm only picking sentences. I'm not doing all the sentences. Let's have, I'm just doing or giving you a kind of, as I told you, I'm showing you the path. Therefore, I'm not doing all the sentences. Okay, now, moving to this one. The concert had been organized by Kid Aid. Let's say that having the spy in a sentence tells us immediately that this is a passive sentence. If I ask who had organized the concert, is it the concert that had organized? No, it is Kid A that had organized the concert. Therefore, concert is only a subject. Had been organized is the verb phrase, and Kid A is the doer, the original doer. So this sentence is passive. Can we change it into active? Of course, but what tense is it? It is a past perfect tense. How could we tell? We have actually the verb to have had and the main verb in form 3. Okay, now changing it into active, we are changing it back into active. So active, this means that we need the doer. Who's the doer? It is Kid A. So we start the sentence with Kid A. Okay, past perfect. Then how is the form, or how does the form of the sentence go? Kid 8, this is the original doer, had organized. Why had organized? Because as we said, it is a past perfect tense. Therefore, we need the verb to have, which is had in this case because it is past. And the main verb is in form 3. Ben is removed because it is active, it's not passive anymore. And then, Kid 8 had organized what? This is the original object. They had organized the concert. Now let's move to the next sentence. I think things are becoming easier as we practice more. Look at the sentence now. You should be grateful for your new job. Let's discuss the function of each word. You is quite clear, a subject. Should be is a verb phrase. This is a model, should, and this is the main verb, be. Grateful for your new job. Now, is this sentence active or passive? Yes, it is active. We have the subject, and you are the one who should be. All right. Now, can we change it into passive? The answer is no. Now, why? Be is a stative verb. If you remember stative verbs, they're not actions. Therefore, they are not done or occurred on a certain object. We don't have object here. A stative verb or the verb be is only a verb that links between the subject and the coming word, which is in this case grateful. Therefore, we say that this is an adjective complement, it's not an object. So we don't have an object. Now, if we do not have an object, how can we change it then into passive? Well, the answer is we cannot, because the main focus of passive is the object and the action. If we do not have the object, then we do not have passive form. Therefore, it cannot be changed into passive. Now let's move to the next sentence. The sentence says, Sally was taking care of the children during the interview. Sally was taking care of the children during the interview. Now let's discuss the function of each word. Sally is a subject and a doer. Why we say it is a doer? Because if I give you this question, who was taking care of the children? It is here, Sally, and it is in its original position in the sentence, in the position of a subject and a doer. Then was taking care is a verb phrase. Now why I included care with take? Because they consider this as a phrase of care. They do not separate take from care. Therefore, I cannot say that care is an object. We cannot say, what does Sally take of the children? And the answer is care. This is wrong. So therefore, they consider that the word take care as a whole phrase. It cannot be separated. Fine. Then, of the children. The children here is an object of preposition. This is the preposition of. Okay, now is this sentence active or passive? Well, yes, it is an active sentence. Can I change it into passive? Yes, I can change it into passive. How can we tell? We have a doer. And if I ask this question, whom was Sally taking care of? Actually, I have an answer, which is the children. So I have an object, which can be the main focus of the coming sentence or the passive sentence. Okay. Now, before we move to changing it into passive, we need to decide the tense of the sentence. Was taking care. What tense is this? Apparently, it is a past continuous tense. Was, verb to be, and the verb with ing, therefore it is a past continuous tense. Now let's change it into passive. We said that the main focus is on the object and we remove this doer. It's not the core focus of the passive sentence. Okay, then how does the sentence go? We begin with the word the children. Because it is past continuous, so we need this verb to be. Okay, so we begin with the children and then pay attention to the verb phrase. Since we said that it is a past continuous tense, then we need the verb to be and we need this ing. So where? Why where? Because it is past. Now why not was? Because it is children plural. Being to show us that it is a continuous tense. Then the main verb is in form 3. Take becomes taken. Care of. Now why we included of? Because it is original in the sentence. We cannot omit it. So the children were being taken care of by whom? By Sally during the interview. Okay. Now let's move to the next sentence. The match will be watched by millions of fans. Now, the match here is a subject, but why did not we say that it is a doer as well? Because have a look at the verb phrase, will be watched. Is it the match that will watch? No, it is actually millions of fans will watch. So millions of fans, this is the doer, and the match is the original object. Therefore, the sentence is passive. Can I change it back into active? Of course I can, but we need to decide the tense. Here you have will be. Therefore, having the modal will tells us that it is a future simple tense. Now, how does the sentence, or is the sentence changed into active? We go back for the doer, we look for the doer. This is the doer, millions of fans. Therefore, we should begin the sentence with millions of fans. And it becomes millions of fans. Since it is future simple, immediately use the modal will. And as you know, the coming verb after modals should be in infinitive form. So this is the main verb watched. It becomes watch. And of course, be is omitted. It is deleted because it's not passive anymore. It is active. Now, millions of fans will watch. Will watch what? We go back for the subject in the passive sentence, which was originally an object in the active sentence. So it becomes millions of fans will watch the match. Okay, now let's move to the next sentence. We don't accept credit cards here. Now, is this sentence active or passive? Have a look at the function of each word. We is a subject and a doer. Why we said it is a doer? Because who does not accept credit cards? Of course it is we, therefore it is a doer. And here, don't accept is the verb phrase. Now we do not accept what? We don't accept credit cards. So credit cards is an object. Therefore, is it an active or a passive sentence? Yes, it is an active sentence. And can we change it into passive? Of course we can. We have a verb phrase, we have a doer, and we have an object. And this is our main focus. Now, before we move to changing it, we need to check or decide the tense of the sentence. Don't accept. Don't accept tells us that this is a present simple tense. Now, how do we change it into a passive? Again, the main focus would be on credit cards, and we, the doer, should be omitted. So the sentence should begin with credit cards. Then credit cards are not, remember that it is negative, not. Okay, so are not accepted here. You may ask yourself where this do has vanished. Do here appears only in active sentences, does not appear in passive sentences as helping verbs, because we have the helping verb to be, the are, so we cannot have are and do together. Are by itself can take the not, and therefore change the sentence from affirmative to negative. So it becomes credit cards are not accepted here. Accepted is in form 3. Of course, you can continue or complete the sentence with by us if you wish. It is, after all, optional. Excuse me. Now, this way actually moving now to the next, or let's say the last sentence. As I told you, I'm only picking sentences. I'm not doing all of them. I have been being sent letters by Tim for 3 months. This is a big sentence, but I think it is easy if you know how to think carefully about each word. Let's have a look at the function of each word. I here is a subject, but can we say it is a doer as well? Let's have a look at the coming verb. Have been being sent. This is, all of this is the verb phrase letters by Tim. Now who sent letters? Is it I or Tim? Yes, it is Tim. Therefore, letters is the direct object, Tim is the doer, which tells us that I was originally an indirect object. So if we ask ourselves this sentence or this question, whom has Tim been sending letters? It is me. So this sentence tells us that there used to be 2 original objects, letters as a direct object and I as an indirect object. Okay, now this is active or passive sentence? Yes, it is a passive sentence. It's not me who sent letters, it is Tim. All right, now can I change it back into active? Of course I can. But first, what is the tense of the sentence? Look at the action or the verb phrase. Have means that it is perfect. Been, being. So we have an ing here. So have means it is present perfect, but ing tells us that it is a present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous. Present perfect because it is have. We have a verb to have and verb in form 3. And it is have not had, therefore it is present. And having the ing tells us that it is continuous. Now we need to change it back into active. Let's look for the doer. As it is apparent here, the doer here is Tim. So Tim is the doer. And we begin the sentence with Tim. So the active sentence goes this way. Tim has been sending. Now why has not have? Because it is Tim singular and the singular subject goes with has not have. Now been sending because the tense is perfect continuous is not perfect simple. So we need the ing. And being is omitted and this ing goes with the verb send and becomes sending. Tim has been sending whom? Me. If you can notice the I here, which is a subject in the passive sentence, becomes an object pronoun. So we should use me, not I anymore. Okay, Tim has been sending me what? Tim has been sending me letters. This is the direct object. We have it here as it is. And for months, this is the duration. I think things are much easier now for you. It only needs you to focus more on the sentence each time you want to change it into passive or active. Look at this sentence as well. We are going to appear on TV next Sunday. Now, we is a subject and a doer. Now, why we say it is a doer? Who is going to appear? It is we. Therefore, we is the doer of this action. Are going to appear, this is a verb phrase. On TV next Sunday. Now, is this an active sentence or a passive sentence? Yes, it is an active sentence. But can we change it into a passive? The answer is no. Now, why no? We have a doer, we have a verb phrase, but do we have an object? No. Do we have an action verb? No. So therefore, we cannot say that there is an object, or we cannot say that we can change it into passive because we don't have an object that the verb occurs on. In this case, we say it cannot be changed into passive. So you need to pay attention that not all sentences can be changed into passive, because some sentences, the main focus of passive form is to pay more attention to the object. It becomes our main concern. If the object is not there, then how can we have a passive form? I think things are becoming much um, more obvious for you, and with more practice, you will be uh, better in using passive and active forms. After all, as I always uh, tell my students, you are the master of the situation. Therefore, you are the one who decides what to say and how to say it. It's not about uh, grammar only, it's about the message you want to send or deliver, the meaning you want to deliver, the idea you want to deliver, your main focus, your main concern. Therefore, think of English as a language to use, not as a rule to follow. And thank you so much.